You gonna do the intro?
You can. Do you want me to? I'll do it. Good morning. My name is Mark.
And I am Sue.
And we're from the channel Our Journey in Miles. And this actually is a video that was a long time in the making. We have been keeping track of our costs to live in Miles, which is our Class A motorhome that's sitting in back of us. And it's an immense amount of work to keep track of every plug nickel you spend. And we've done this 2 times before, and I can tell you that over the years, as we looked at what our competition, meaning our other channels that were also reporting costs, what we could see that they were doing different than us is they weren't including everything, and they were deferring that you know what your grocery costs are and you know what your dental costs are.
So I just want to point out, if this is the first time you're looking at any of our videos, we are full-time, and that's why we're keeping records of everything.
Correct. So being full-timers and having a lot of people that are looking at our channel that are wondering if they can afford to full-time, we decided that we would include all of our costs and let you, the viewer, exclude things that are not applicable to you. That's very useful because in the beginning, when you're just doing kind of a high-level analysis, if you can afford to full-time RV, or even, partially part-time RV, you really need to know what your costs are. And, let's face it, a lot of us don't write down every time we go to Costco or go to the Safeway or go to Walgreens. Well, we did all that work for you, and what we're going to offer in this video, a number of times will splash on screen our email address, which is ourjourneyinmiles@gmail.com. Miles is the name of our RV. It's spelled M-Y-L-E-S, so it's ourjourneyinmiles@gmail.com. If you just put in the subject line cost sheets, all of the things that we're going to discuss today, the Excel spreadsheet that I'll be showing on screen, as well as a blank version of this that has protected cells in it so that you can just wildly and willy-nilly put in all of your costs, and it will calculate what your monthly and daily costs are going to be. Not daily, your monthly costs, and then you'd be able to project what your yearly cost is going to be. It's free of charge. We don't put you on any email lists or anything because, quite honestly, just like 2 years ago and 1 year ago, we still haven't figured out how to do that. So let's get started here. One of the things that I'm going to try to do in the description section, and we're smart enough to know that if you're using a smart TV, you can't, go down in the description area. So unfortunately, we're telling you to defer to go to your laptop or your desktop, the computer. But the beauty in that is that I will take the time to pick out some of the more complete channels that we watch that list their particular costs. And I'm here to tell you that the costs of RVing are solely dependent on the equipment you select up front and the agreement you have with your travel partner on how you truly want to RV, where you stay, the type of style of staying that you do at the different places you selected. And I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah, and we should clarify too that we always say we're not campers, we're tourists. So we like to be plugged in. Our rig is all electric. We have a residential refrigerator. And so we do consider ourselves more tourists. So there are a lot of channels out there that are doing it a lot cheaper than what we're doing it.
Right, and I would almost clarify and say we're pretty much probably the highest channel cost per month RVers that you can find in there. And we're not,
that's confessing to
right,
it.
That's confessing, that's not bragging. But you have to remember that if you want to get accurate costs, what you should do is you should ask for our spreadsheet. We'll send it to you a free email, and then you can go to a different channel and emulate their costs. Because let's face it, if you're traveling in a tent, you need to be looking at a tent channel. If you're traveling in a fifth wheel, you need to be looking at a fifth wheel channel, and everything in between. There is also an age disparity, I think, in what your costs are. It seems that the older you get, like me, you typically don't like a lot of inconveniences. It's kind of the retirement spoiled brat syndrome. I should put an acronym up on the screen. We have watched over the years plenty of channels that do all sorts of boondocking, and they are members of Boondockers Welcome, or they're just out in BLM land where they're doing things for free, or they're going with friends, or they're members of the Thousand Trails membership, which we'll talk about in a second. These are all tremendously different ways to decrease your costs. Here's one thing I want to caution you on, is when you're looking at these channels, pay special close attention to the little details that they might offer, but then don't elaborate on it. So if, for instance, they offer that they have a 2,000 watt solar system on the roof and they have 8 Battle-Born batteries, I'm here to tell you that if that's professionally installed, that might be between a $15,000 and $20,000 solar system that they have installed, that allows them to not have to plug in like we do. Now, we have a solar system, we have 8 Lifeline batteries, and we can finagle around if we want to, but to truly live off-grid without a lot of inconveniences, you really need a pretty awesome solar system. So don't miss that point when you're looking at a channel that's saving all sorts of money, not staying in a campground, but they've got this $20,000 system that, oh, by the way, somebody else paid for because it was an affiliate link. So let's get down to what's the most expensive thing, honey. On the front line here are monthly camping costs, expenses.
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Yeah.
Well, it looks like this is for 3 years though. Okay.
Correct.
Spread out over 3
right.
years.
And I would like to say that Sue is literally looking at this for the first time.
Yeah.
Sue amassed all his data.
I'm the data collector.
Yes.
He compiled the spreadsheet,
right.
And this really is the first time I'm looking at the total numbers over 3 years.
Right, and that'll explain away while I'm doing all the talking.
Yeah. And if there's any questions that I don't get, I'll ask.
Right, because
somebody else might have that question.
I've actually worked on this for a couple of months now, trying to make sense of this all. You've already seen that I've scrolled down on the screen here to the bottom and told you that we spend on average, this is over 3 years, so this is a really accurate average, we spend $6,304 per month. And you're going, yikes, and I understand that. That's why you need to...
But that's everything. That's groceries,
right.
The RV parks, that is everything.
Right, but our viewers really need to dial in to the costs for the type of equipment and their type of style. For instance, look in back of us. This is unusual that we're at a park this cheap. We're only paying $30 a night for a full hookup electric.
In California.
Right. And we were here 2 years ago, and we were paying, let's say, triple.
We were paying, on average, $90 a night.
Right. So we've tried to get smarter over the years. We'll be honest with you, we're not that smart. We're still spending all that much
So people
money.
want to know, how'd you get cheaper? I would. We're at the Elks Lodge in Petaluma, California. We're Elks members.
Right.
So that sort of thing can keep some of your costs down too.
Right. And they're kind of fascinating places to stay because of the way they're set up with the bars and the wonderful meals and the camaraderie. We met some great people the second night we were here.
We did. But
dinner.
you diverse now.
Yeah.
Let's get
Carl and Andrea.
Andrea.
Carl and Andrea, we had a wonderful time with you. You guys could be our friends.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, not that that's worth anything more than $1.
Oh, bonus.
Yeah. So our monthly camping costs, unfortunately, folks, ended up being, on average, over 3 years, $1,260 monthly. And I think that ends up being about $43 a night. Now, the only reason it got that low is because every once in a while, if we're in a repair facility, we would actually be camping for free, as we're spending money getting our rig repaired.
Yeah.
So if you want to decrease those costs, you have to do something like do some of the alternative camping that we're talking about, or join 1,000 Trails. Let's talk about that just for a second. We are not 1,000 Trails members. I can almost say that if I could do things over again in the beginning, remember we've been doing this for 4 years, I think we should have joined 1,000 Trails, and I think we should have learned how to work with the system. We should have bought the best system camping program
for our areas that we want to hit.
Well, we would buy all of the areas, and
Yeah.
we would have bought the one that would allow us to book the furthest out, to take the stress level off of having to find places, especially in Florida. We didn't think we would be in the same spot all the time. We had this fantasy that we were going to be in.
Try to get it.
Yeah, I got it. That we were going to be in different areas all the time, and we would run out of campground sites because there's a limited number of them in the 1,000 Trails network. And lo and behold, we have spent the majority of our time for wintering in Florida, where they have a lot of 1,000 Trails options, and we spent the majority of our wintering time in the Arizona and Southern Cal area, and they have a lot of places there. So I think if you buy a good enough plan so you can book out far enough, you will literally, and if you start your journey down in those areas, you will literally pay for your membership probably the first 6 months, certainly within a year, based on the fact that we're blowing $43 a day on average. So if you want to buy a plan, the best way to do it is to buy a used plan. Go through Kimberly at Campground Membership Outlets. She will work with you and help you navigate all of the semi-complex issues of this contract that you're going to be involved in. She's very helpful. She's kind of the de facto expert on this. If you can't pay for your plan outright, you have to go through the 1,000 Trails corporate. They do allow you to buy it on an installment plan, but that's just another line item that you're personally going to have to add to our spreadsheets, because we don't have a line item here for something like the campground membership. But definitely look into that.
Yeah.
So let me breeze down a little bit to something that we can spend a little bit more time talking on. We'll do this in the order here. Remember, you should just send us an email.
Get the details on the sheet.
Yeah.
Email us, because we don't need to go through all of this, but we can point out
some
of the major things.
So send us an email, ourjourneyin.myles @gmail.com. Put cost sheets in the subject line, and I will send you this exact sheet here. So we talked about that we spend $6,304 a month. We don't do anything fancy. We go to nice campgrounds that are average $43 a night. We go to normal things like museums and what else do we do?
Well, national parks, festivals,
but
restaurants, cafes.
No fancy boat rides, no flying in airplanes, no helicopter rides.
No, we don't skydive.
Yeah.
We do tours if cities have an interesting tours, but it's not all extravagant.
So when you see the costs, you're going, oh, well, it must be because you're driving that fancy motorhome and you got a big loan payment. Guess what? our rig is paid for. We have a line item in the chart for $0 dollars per month for our loan.
Yeah.
We've got a line in there so that if right off the bat you're going to be traveling with a loan, you need to add that in.
Yeah.
Our diesel fuel costs actually were only $200 a month. We only drive about 450 miles per month. That's pretty low.
Yeah, we found after the first year, being full-time, what's the hurry? So we kind of hop along and see what there is to see rather than having a destination and zooming all the way out there to it.
Well,
So we take our time. We'll sit. Some days we need to do laundry, groceries.
Yeah,
You know?
I think one of the items on here that probably makes us more expensive also is our insurance.
Yeah.
We insure our rig to an insured value. We insure it to $234,000. The insured value that I insure it to is good for 10 years. So 9 years from now, because we've had that insurance for about a year, 9 years from now, if my rig would be damaged or burned down, I would get $234,000. It would not, I repeat, it would not be subject to any NADA or any Blue Book value nonsense. I quizzed the insurance people at Progressive, and it looks like I pay nominally maybe about somewhere between $500 and $700 a year for that privilege to insure for a value. For me, to be able to insure a number of years from now, we would get what we paid for it if we had a disaster. That's great peace of mind.
Yeah.
But that also means that my insurance costs averaged up till now over 3 years $277 a month just for the RV. And I might add that it actually is $316 per month right now. It's just that since it went up, this number that I have as an average in the chart has to catch up with the current cost right now. We have talked in the past about the importance of towing insurance. I'm just going to say this. Make sure you have the towing insurance from your insurance company proper, whether it's National General or Progressive. That's for if you're in an accident and the police show up and tow you off the road lickety-split with Billy Bob's towing. Okay? Your insurance will always pay for Billy Bob's. The other thing is, if you have a big rig like this or you have a big fifth wheel, you need somebody that really understands RVing. The only one that understands RVing 100% is CoachNet. We're not affiliated with CoachNet. We just believe in them.
But we do have a video. We can put the video from the
Yeah.
what was that? The Tampa show. We
Yeah.
interviewed somebody about it.
Yeah,
so,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, a little more information.
Yeah,
so go to the video that we've got.
Right, and we'll try to figure out how to put a link up in the corner here. I still have to do that. It's this. It's this corner. Our routine maintenance, because our engine is in the back, and you have to be kind of a special, crazy diesel mechanic type of a guy to even want to work on that. When you gotta, basically have your co-workers hold you up by the ankles while you're dangling
As
in
you're
there,
bending through. Yeah.
working on your engine. So everything is more expensive on that. Our routine maintenance and repairs, cumulative average over 3 years, if you can believe this, we've had almost $10,000 worth of repairs over 3 years, and we've had almost $10,000 worth of maintenance in 3 years. And you know what? I'm around a lot of RVers, and we are not driving a junker.
No.
That's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of the other RVers are doing some of their repairs and maintenance.
Oh.
And with Mark's back and mine not knowing
Right.
what to do, we usually pay for that. Plus, everybody has their things. Some of our repairs got high because we had an issue with our big slide, which finally has been solved.
Right.
So, everybody's repairs and that are going to really vary from ours.
Right, and that really is an important issue, that there's plenty of people out there that are ready, willing, and able to do their own repairs. They might even like to do it,
Yeah.
and that would really lower things.
That helps.
But is it going to take $20,000 worth down to $100? No. So only you can determine that. We've got some additional monthly costs here, even though it happened about 3 years into our RVing. Because we bought an RV that was, nominally three-ish years old, All of a sudden, we had to put new tires on.
Yeah.
Now, the tires looked brand new. Some people might argue that I replaced them too early. That's fine. I wish them luck. I go on IRV2, which is an excellent resource. It's the letter I, RV, the number 2.com. Excellent resource for anything about RVs. Conventional wisdom, 6 to 7 years, dump your tires because of the age. And let's face it, the severity of the issue if you have a problem. So even though you don't replace your tires every month, when you finally do, it's so expensive. You would really want to budget. In our case, you'd want to budget, over 3 years, you'd want to budget $264 a month just for your tires.
And we also do have a video on when we had our tires changed out and retro bands
Excellent segue.
So
and
look below wherever or up.
And that talks about the retro band gadget that we had installed. $4,500 safety device. It's not for everybody. It certainly was for me, and you'll learn about that in there. We can, skip some of these things. It talks about your tow car. We have a bunch of line items in there about the tow car. You can see that we don't have a loan payment for our tow car. So once again, sitting at home in your seat, you can go, how the heck did they spend $6,300? I'm telling you, it all adds up.
It's all there.
When you have enough line items where you're basically capturing, every time you buy a pencil, you got a line in there. Pencil expenses, that's what we got in here.
plus I have to say again, if this is the first time you've seen our videos, Mark is a retired mechanical engineer, and he is really anal retentive on detail and safety. Safety is big. So a lot of the things you might go, well, I don't need to do that. But for our comfort level, we spent the money to have that safety, and with his know-how, knowing he's feeling better about it.
Yeah.
I'm oblivious. It's like, whatever, honey, you're the mechanical engineer.
No, you're not oblivious. You give me the confidence that you trust me when we're spending extra money on something and we talk about it. So
safety first.
You have to really have a partnership and a good relationship, so that one or the other doesn't get tired of RVing, and then you finally get to experience what we all love, time to sell it. That's when you really take a bath.
Yeah.
So one of the things we talked about in the beginning of this was how we include everything. Do you personally, anybody out there that I'm pointing to right now, know what you spend per month on groceries? I bet you all of the women do, but none of the guys do. Okay.
And even with that, I really didn't until I started writing it down. It's like, wow, we eat a lot.
Right.
Well, see, and that's going to vary too, because I like to buy organic. It's a little bit more expensive. Some people could care less, and so the price is going to change.
Yeah, but I balance it out because I like to buy hash brown potatoes.
He does. And corned beef hash.
Yeah. So we have spent, on average, over 3 years, $851 per month in a grocery store. Not $850. $851. Okay. Now, going in restaurants probably got a little bit beaten down because of COVID, but we've averaged over 3 years $293 at restaurants, and only
for the year,
and only $225 per month,
that's
year round, for entertainment. We have our cell phone costs listed. And you're probably thinking, I bet you their bill is high because they got lots of satellite systems and all sorts of fancy stuff like that. You know what? We don't have time to watch TV because we're making these videos. Okay, so
we're watching YouTube on our laptop.
We literally just have jetpacks for our data usage, and we just have Netflix for
entertainment,
$9.88 a month. We have no satellite or anything like that.
Yeah.
We have line items for dental, medical insurance. Our medical insurance is covered by our pensions, so that's not included in the 6304. Things purchased. If you get the spreadsheet from us, there is little comments, little comment triangles in each of the cells. and you can press on those to see what we bought, and just to get an idea of the level of detail that we've included. Now, I can tell you that over 3 years, remember, we're in an RV. Everything we buy has got to fit in that box in back of us. So real quick, no matter how much of a hoarder you are, you get to the point where you got so much stuff in there you can't even sit in the driver's seat. So we really don't buy all that much stuff to add to it, but we have been replacing things. You know, it's amazing how you will still go to Goodwill.
Dropping things off. I mean, at least once a year now. We're cleaning out closet drawers. We don't need it. Take it to Goodwill.
So in the things purchased column, I won't tell you what they are other than one thing. We've spent $20,000 on stuff that we now have to carry.
And some of the stuff is being used. Stuff to maintain the rig or replace, like our mat outside. I don't know what happened. We bought a new mat for outside, so we're not adding to.
And the thing that was the most expensive was the e-bikes, and the e-bikes were about $2,500 a piece, and then by the time you buy gadgets and everything, so you could probably say, let's round it up, they were maybe $5,500 of that 20 was the e-bike. So that's the kind of thing that starts adding up. So we've got different line items in there about traveling back home, and got a line in there, the mysterious cash that just kind of falls out of your pocket when you're wandering around.
When I dig in his wallet. One thing I think we should point out that you went over is our mail forwarding service. There's so many of them out there. And we actually use St. Brendan's, is it?
St. Brendan's Isle,
from Florida. So we're domiciled in Florida right now. But some people use, Escapees or...
and we'll put a link up in the corner here. I've actually adjusted that cost to be $56 per month. I really had a lot of data this time around to see how much it cost us, and I added up all of the fees that we pay to be a member of that, the fees that we pay for the scanning service, and the shipping costs.
Shipping is in there. So you do pay for your shipping when you forward it.
So you can decrease those costs by hardly having the stuff shipped to you, but that can be a little problematic, because if you get a little cavalier and just because you're traveling you go, I'm going to get my mail every 2 months, I'm here to tell you, you can get some important things sent to you that take a while to unravel when you have to convince them that you didn't respond to them because you didn't get your mail in time. So the last thing I think I want to talk about is some lines on the bottom that you can choose to delete the minute you get it, but you really do have to think about this. I think about the overall cost of RVing, and the overall cost of RVing is going to be, and you got to keep this in mind, is the net loss that you're going to take on your RV. If you buy a super fancy RV and you take out an immense loan over the course of 15 years, and you only RV 5 years, you have to factor in that is going to be worth substantially less than when you bought it. And it's that delta that you're going to have to pay for at that time. And you can either just choose to grin and bear it when it happens, or you can kind of go through the calculation I have here so that you're at least prepared for it. These lines that I have in here, they basically show that if you buy a brand new rig, you can multiply it by 20%, and that's how much less that rig is going to be worth pretty much the day you drive it off the lot. And if you wanted to, then you could play the game and divide that number by 12. That's the monthly cost that you just incurred over a year if you only RV'd for 1 year. Every line after that basically takes now that new decreased price and multiplies it by 8%, because if you troll the internet, there's a consensus that usually about 8% is what you end up losing per year in depreciated value. The lines underneath that area of the depreciation are all of your home base. If you choose to keep your home, we did not.
Right.
If you choose to keep your home, you're still going to have your mortgage payment, your maintenance, your homeowner's insurance, your electric, gas, utilities, cable, snow removal, grass cutting, yearly tax bill. Imagine we spend $63.04 a month average over 3 years, and we don't have those costs. Maybe I did my adding wrong here. I'll have to check the addition here. No, I did.
No, I was going to say that's Excel.
Yeah, and then our toll fees.
I guess I do want to just say one thing, that we did decide not to keep our storage locker. We did have it as we were selling our house, and we kept hearing from other RVers blogging and stuff saying they wish they never kept a storage locker. And it's 4 years now, and if we did have one, we would have been paying that much for a storage locker every month. So, I mean, everybody has to make their own choice. For us, it worked out fine. We were willing to get rid of that, and we've got a small amount of things stored at my sister's house, like photographs, things like that cannot be replaced.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider too. Do you want to keep that storage locker? Are you really going to want everything in there 5 years after you paid so much money for the locker?
Right, and I think that brings up the point of the importance of, assuming you're still listening to us right now.
Yeah. Thanks for sticking with us.
Yeah, of taking the advice of people that have been there, done that.
Oh, we did, yeah.
And I bought the T-shirt. I went to Ruby's, okay? Now, I was able to go to Ruby's because I signed on the dotted line to do this RVing life,
Right.
and I drove all the way to Palm Springs, and the place is awesome. What I mean by that is, I had alluded to the website irv2.com. If you go to websites like that, or even if you decided that you're going to get a Newmar and get on some of these forums about RVing, and sometimes you can even ask your own questions. The conventional wisdom usually is, if you're going to be full-timer, the mistake they made was having a storage unit.
Yeah.
I know it's tough to get rid of things, but you have to think that if 5-6 years down the road, you come back to that storage locker and there's water damage and the freezing thaw cycle, all your furniture is going to be shot and delaminated, and then you go, oh great, I paid $2,400 or more a year to store this times 5 or 6 years. It's something that most of them, when they reflect back, they wish they could do it over.
Yeah.
So Sue and I took that advice.
Right.
And we're really glad we did.
Yeah.
The other advice we took was one of the big questions, usually are connectivity questions about what do I do with my cell service and my hotspots and my iPads and all that kind of stuff. And with very few exceptions, we have had no problem staying connected by simply having a Verizon jetpack and an AT&T jetpack, and we have followed all the advice of Chris and Sherry from Technomadia. They used to have a mobile internet aficionados group that you could subscribe to. I think it's about let's say $79 a year or something like that. I'll splash on the screen what I think it is now. That really helped us to align how much effort we wanted to go through to stay connected.
And there, we found having the two, we're always connected. Like right here, we're having a problem with AT&T, but our Verizon's fine. Mm-hmm. So, and it's been, actually AT&T has been our stronger signal throughout the U.S. most of the time, but not always.
I would caution that you virtually never count on using the RV
the parks
web signal. It's always the Wi-Fi signal. It's always too weak. It's always too unreliable.
Yeah.
Almost always it's unsecure. Yeah. Granted, there's the exception to the rule.
Yeah.
Actually, the exception to the rule is we're at the Elks Lodge.
Elks Lodge, yeah.
And we're connected to that. It's super strong, but guess what? There's only 18 RV slots here.
And they're not all filled right now. We'll see how the weekend goes. It'll be Memorial Weekend full here. We'll see if it slows us down.
So when you're looking at this and you're thinking that, well, you know, I'm just going to use the park Wi-Fi, bad plan.
It's slow, usually.
Get something. We have 2 services only because we have to upload videos, and you know, you're not going to buy the excuse if we don't have signal to upload. And I'm not going to a Starbucks for 4 hours to upload, you know.
Yeah, no.
So I guess that's it.
I think so.
We're glad you stopped by.
Yeah.
Once again, if you want a copy of this spreadsheet, send an email to our Journey in Myles at gmail.com. Put in the subject line cost video or cost spreadsheet. I'll send it to you. There's no strings attached. We appreciate you stopping by and watching. We would love if you would subscribe, give us a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
That's the only way YouTube knows that we're worth recommending, and the more people that we can reach, the better the channel does.
Yeah. Leave a comment. Mark is really good about replying. He's on it. He's on it.
And we would also appreciate if you want to learn more about the startup costs, for instance, of RVing. That might be a separate video in itself that I might do. If you go to our Amazon page, we have, I don't know, 17 or 18 different categories of the things that we have bought over the years. Anything that we bought over the years that turned out to be a boondoggle or it was junky, we don't have in that list. It's just the stuff that we currently use. I have one category in there right now. It's called newbie equipment. And
nice.
Like it or not, everything in that list you really need to buy. And you know, if I would have had more time, I would have sat down and put a $sign on the newbie list. I was almost afraid to do that. But don't forget that when you go to the RV place and you buy one of these, 9 times out of 10, they don't supply you with, if you buy a new one, they might supply you with a starter sewer kit. You know, it'll be 10 feet long, which is, you know, 5 feet too short. So, you know, you're going to have an issue.
Start adding.
Yeah. So remember to use our Amazon store to see what we use and love, and it really does help and support the channel so we continue to RV, because at $6,304 per month, we're running out of money.
Mark needs prescription sunglasses too.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you, hon.
Because technically,
this is what he usually does.
If I was going to do this during the video, but my wife.
It still looks cool.
It does?
It still looks cool. You can't see your glasses.
All right,
too
well,
much.
let's just refilm the whole thing.
Yeah, forget it,
Yeah. Maybe that microphone wasn't working anyways. Let me check.
Thanks for being with us.
See you guys
Don't forget
later.
to subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Until next time.
All right, let me check the microphone again. I hate that when I...
Oh, my God. How long have we been here?
I know, but I hate that when I joke about it and it actually happens.
It's kind of like you jinxed yourself.
Yeah.
No. Still going?
Yep.
Woohoo!